Hey, you're watching WND-TV. I'm here with Dr. Paul Kengor, the author, most recently, of the book Takedown, From Communists to Progressives, How the Left Has Sabotaged Family and Marriage. Dr. Kengor, good evening, sir.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Dr. Kengor, it's funny, your book came out at a time when the left's attempt to sabotage family and marriage, which has been going on for decades, came finally to its fruition, to its logical conclusion, with the 5-4 decision earlier in, was it June or was it in early July?
Yeah, June 26, 2015.
June 26, 2015.
You remember that date because that will be a big date in American history.
It is a big date in American history, but more importantly, it was an important date in corporate American history because we saw something magical transpire that day, and that wasn't just the spontaneous celebrations throughout the country. It wasn't just every celebrity tweeting out, "Oh, this is such a great moment," and then people changing their Facebook covers to have it rainbow, even though they probably had nothing to do with ever championing or going out there and working for this to happen. This takedown of marriage, which is what occurred. But Dr. Kengor, I want to talk to you about the hashtag Love Wins and the brilliant marketing of the left, because they frame this whole decision, this 5-4 decision, into such a matter of morality that, I mean, Judge Alito and Judge Scalia and Judge Thomas and Judge Roberts are the personification of evil because they almost kept love from winning.
Right. No, it's a brilliant idea. I mean, this is how you win campaigns like this, by coming up with the right slogans. In fact, that's something that corporate America understands really well. And this idea that love wins, and who are you to deny people who love each other the right to marry, that held sway with an awful lot of Americans. Now, obviously, apparently not obviously, it's a very flawed premise, because if you're arguing that love wins and that's how you should define marriage based on love wins, well, that's going to create all kinds of problems with marriage that not even the left would support, or at least not most same-sex marriage advocates would support. For example, if love defines marriage, then, and as a number of people said, the more love, the more better, then you could use that same argument to argue for a polygamous marriage.
Correct.
For a man and 2 or 3 women. And if your other argument is that consenting adults who love each other ought to get married, well, there again, consenting adults, it could be plural. Why stop at 2? Why not make it 3? And really, if you use that same argument, that if you're a same-sex marriage supporter and a man from Montana comes up to you with 2 women who want to marry him, and they say, "I don't get it. You said love wins." Well, we all love each other. The 3 of us love each other. We want our marriage rights now. We want our marriage equality. And why can't we have that? You're going to deny us this? You're going to say that our love is illegitimate? And using maybe Justice Kennedy's argument and other decisions, are you going to say that our children, thus, in a sense, aren't legitimate because we don't have a marriage that's recognized by the state? So you can use that same argument for all sorts of marriage reconfigurations. So the point has never been that the people shouldn't love each other. The argument is, what is the nature of marriage? And that's a separate issue altogether. Just because you love each other doesn't mean you get to redefine marriage. Although in America today, apparently it does.
I've got to say, it was, if you were paying attention to social media, and I was that day, it was amazing how the proverbial dominoes were pushed. I don't know which corporation did it first. I know the White House changed their Facebook logo to the White House becoming the rainbow flag.
They illuminated the White House?
They did illuminate the White House that evening, but it was amazing how fast corporations then jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
As I'm going here, we'll show you the logos during this conversation. Ben & Jerry's, they tweeted out "Love wins," hashtag love is love, hashtag marriage equality. As you said, what is marriage equality if not love is love? I mean,
sure.
What's going to stop someone from saying, whether it's incest or, as you said, polygamy? American Airlines, we're all on board. Diversity strengthens us all, and today we celebrate marriage equality. Macy's, Target, Honey Maid, JetBlue Airways, BuzzFeed, the White House, as we said. Hillary Clinton changed her history logo to the rainbow flag. Game of Thrones, their official Twitter page. The Maytag man tweeted out, here's to finding the one who completes you. Visa, Gap, Uber, Jello. I guess they're trying to distance themselves from Bill Cosby. Miller Lite, Kettle One Vodka, MTV.
It's pretty hard to say that corporate America is a bunch of right wingers, isn't it?
Spotify USA, Starbucks Coffee, Major League Soccer, Whole Foods Market, Absolute Vodka, Cheerios. They changed their logo to Love is Love with the O and I and the I and is being the Cheerio.
Well, and you have to wonder too why are these companies doing this? And I really can't give you an honest answer. And I think that in part it's because obviously some of the people at some of the companies support this, but I think too they're probably reacting to threats of boycott, intimidation. And if I was on the left and I supported same-sex marriage, I wouldn't want the support of people who feel like they're forced to support me because that's inauthentic. But I think there's probably a lot of that going on.
Dr. Kengor, a lot of people probably haven't seen, but a number of public places actually did this too. Niagara Falls was lit up in rainbow colors. The Civil Courts building in St. Louis. The Cinderella Castle at Disney World. Terminal Tower in Cleveland. The Empire State Building. Penn Station. The Seattle Great Wheel. The U.S. Grant Hotel in San Diego. That's a beautiful hotel. The Alamo in San Antonio.
The Alamo?
The Alamo. San Francisco City Hall. The San Francisco International Airport, Grace Cathedral, Playhouse Square in Cleveland, the Davis Building in Dallas, and as we've discussed, the White House. And as we're going through these names, you'll be seeing these images pop up because what is so stunning about this, Dr. Kengor, is you look at the reaction to what happened to Indiana and this conformity that we're seeing. Corporate America is actually engaged in a conformity. And why I bring that quote up is a couple months ago, we saw the crazy reaction to the situation in Indiana, the Indiana Religious Freedom Bill.
This is a fundamental transformation. That's what it is.
But tonight, because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
Barack Obama talked about fundamentally transforming America. And in the 6-7 years since he said that, that's exactly what we've gotten. Not an economic transformation, not a transformation of class or anything like that, but a fundamental transformation of the culture, and especially on sexual gender issues. And one of the things that I show in Takedown, specifically the chapter, The Gay Marriage President, is that Barack Obama himself has not fundamentally changed on the same-sex marriage issue. In fact, according to David Axelrod, who would know, and Axelrod has long been Valerie Jarrett and Axelrod are the closest advisors. But one of the things that David Axelrod says is that Obama, way back in 1996, as a state senator in Illinois, way back then, supported same-sex marriage. But according to Axelrod, Obama could not say that publicly and said that he publicly supported traditional marriage because of his Christian beliefs. And Axelrod said, too, that one of the main reasons that Obama did that was political, and in particular to get the support of African-American voters, who have always been very traditional on marriage. And so if that's the case, then if Axelrod is right, and there's no reason to believe that he's not, then you'd have to say that Obama led a pretty considerable deception on this issue over the past 10 years.
Going back to this idea that, looking at how all these corporations wrap themselves in the rainbow colors, during the 2 minutes hate against the state of Indiana for Indiana Governor Mike Pence daring to sign this controversial religious freedom law, you saw a lot of corporations that are based in Indiana and in Indianapolis. Yelp, the NCAA, Eli Lilly, NASCAR, General Electric, Angie's List, PayPal, and Salesforce all expressed great concern about this law. More importantly, you saw Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, actually lecture Indiana's governor on morality. Yes. And then this crazy quote from the Salesforce CEO, article where it was titled from CNN Money, "We're helping employees move out of Indiana." He said, this is Mark Benioff, CEO of Salesforce, "This is a really important point that CEOs have a lot of power and control on investments in states, and we want to invest in states where there is equality. One thing that you're seeing is that there is a third political party emerging in this country, which is the party of the CEOs. Now, Dr. Kengor, I still believe that most companies are publicly traded, and it seems that those stockholders could rebel, but when the CEOs are forcing the political idea of where their corporations are headed, I mean, at this point, what does a traditional American who's a conservative, what do they have to look for from corporations as they basically level whatever America was, all in the name of profits and equality?
Well, it's a good question, and really all of this vindicates the concerns of the state of Indiana and other legislatures that feel the need to protect people's religious freedom. Because if you have even companies acting like this, let alone what's been going on with florists and bakers and photographers and so forth, then people who are traditional Christians or Orthodox Jews or faithful Muslims who believe in male-female marriage, and if they believe that holding to that position is going to get them this sort of unbelievable backlash by the forces of tolerance and diversity, as they call themselves, then they're crying out and screaming for religious protection. And you keep in mind, Anthony Kennedy and 4 liberals on the court might think that gay marriage exists in the Constitution, which it doesn't. But there is something in the First Amendment of the Constitution called freedom of religion. Okay, so that is clearly there, and clearly people, Christians like myself, we look at this and we think, man, this is an onslaught. This is a juggernaut. It's an incredibly intolerant force claiming tolerance, and I need my legislature or somebody to protect my religious rights before they come for me.
We've been talking with Dr. Paul Kengor, the author of Takedown, From Communists to Progressives, How the Left Has Sabotaged Family and Marriage, which is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and most importantly, you get a signed hardcover copy exclusively at the WND Superstore. Dr. Kengor, as always, I want to thank you for your time, and more importantly, I want to continue to stress that please continue to write the few bits of sanity that are available on the internet at such places as WND, American Thinker, and other outlets, because your writing it's a light in the darkness, and that's very much needed at this time. So thank you so much.
Well, not everyone agrees, and I'm sorry that I have to do it. And believe me, it brings me far more grief than it does pleasure.
Dr. Kengor, thank you, sir.